Yes, good afternoon, students. And today we are just going to do the rest portion of the chapter, that is chapter number 2, biological classification. And as you all know that in our previous videos we have discussed a lot about what is biological classification, what are the criterions of the biological classification, and we have even discussed in detail the kingdom Monera, as we've also discussed the kingdom Protista in detail. But we were left off with the portion protozoans of the kingdom Protistans. So just today we are just going to complete up with the Protistans, dealing up with the protozoans over here. So when we are talking about the protozoans, these have been classified on the basis of locomotory organs, they possess. Clear? So when we are talking about the protozoans, these are those group of organisms which are basically unicellular in nature. Basically they are said to be the relatives of the higher grade of animals. Okay, they are supposed to be the links of the higher grade of animals. Clear? So when we are talking about the protozoans, these can be either the amoeboid protozoans, the flagellated protozoans, then third is what we are talking about is ciliated protozoans, and the fourth is the sporozoans. Yeah. So here when we are just going to talk about the amoeboid protozoans, as you all know, these are unicellular and irregular shaped organisms. Clear? So when we are talking about the habitat of these organisms, when we are talking about the habitat, it includes they may either be found in the moist soil or in the shallow fresh waters. Present in the moist soil or shallow fresh waters, and of course it is also found in the marine environment. Clear? Amoeboid protozoans, they since as I've told you all that they are characterized by an irregularly shaped body, therefore in order to move about from one place to another for the search of the food or any such things, they what do they do? They give out their cytoplasmic inclusions in front. Clear? And these cytoplasmic outgrowths of these organisms, they are said to be pseudopodias. Clear? So they move with the help of pseudopodia. Okay, so the word pseudopodia, when I am talking about the word pseudopodia here, it means that pseudo means false and podia means feet. Clear? That these are the false feet of these living organisms. Getting my words? Clear? So as I told you all, why they are said to be the first feet, because these are temporary structures, as these are the outgrowths of the cytoplasm. When they are these cytoplasmic outgrowths, these are given out at the time when the movement is required by the organism. Clear? So this is that they move out with the help of the pseudopodia. Then talking about the next, what to say, they are basically they are heterotrophs. They are heterotrophs. Clear? And they reproduce through binary fission method. Clear? Sometimes deposits of silica are found in the marine, marine strains of amoeba. Clear? So when we are talking about, they may also be parasitic in nature, and parasitic form includes ant amoeba, Histolytica. Clear? It is a protozoan parasite which is the causative agent of amoebiasis. It is the causative agent of amoebiasis. Clear? So this is all about what to say amoeboid protozoans. Still more is left, but it is not in your course concern. Therefore, I am just discussing only this much over here. Next, we are just going to move ahead with the flagellated protozoans. So when we are talking about the flagellated protozoans, when we are talking about the flagellated protozoans over here, flagellated protozoans, again these are unicellular. Clear? Unicellular, and of course these are also present in the freshwater or marine environment. Clear? Second, they have got flagellas on their body, which are serving as the locomotory organs, by the help of which these organisms can move from one place to another place. So they possess flagellas as locomotory organs. Clear? And these flagellas, they perform a whip-like movements, and while they are performing a whip-like movements, they are rotating the organism at 360-degree angle, and by this type of rotation the organism moves further on. These flagellas perform a whip-like movement. Clear? Now next, some of these forms, basically they are heterotrophs, and some of these forms are parasitic, also parasitic pathogens basically. Clear? These are heterotrophs, and some are parasitic pathogens. Example of the parasitic pathogen is Trypanosoma gambians. Example is Trypanosoma gambians. Clear? And this Trypanosoma gambians, it is the causative agent of a disease known as sleeping sickness. Sleeping sickness. Okay, so this is all about the flagellated protozoans. Now we are going to move ahead next with ciliated protozoans. So when we are talking about the ciliated protozoans, again unicellular, and slipper shaped in structure. Slipper shaped in structure. They possess cilia as locomotory organelles. Okay, they possess cilia as locomotory organs. Clear? Then these cilia, they are present all over the general surface of the body, and by the continuous movement of these rows of the cilia, the organism moves from one place to another place. These cilia are present all over the general body surface. Clear? These organisms, they have got an opening or a cavity which is known as the gullet, and by the beating movements of the gullet of the cilia present over the lining of the gullet, the food is allowed to pass down into the gullet. These organisms possess a cavity called gullet, and the beating movements of cilia brings food into the gullet. Okay, now mode of reproduction. These reproduce by binary fission method. These reproduce by binary fission method. Okay, then next, when we are talking about the next example of this particular category is ciliated protozoans is Paramecium. These are free living heterotrophs. Clear? Now next comes the sporozoans. When we are talking about the sporozoans, these are also unicellular heterotrophic structures which possess spore-like stage in their life cycle, or the sporozoite stage in their life cycle, and hence the name given to them are sporozoans. They do not possess any locomotory organelle as it is found in the amoeboid, flagellated and ciliated protozoans. Clear? So these are unicellular heterotrophic organisms which possess a sporozoite stage in their life cycle. Clear? Next, example of this is, basically these are parasitic pathogens. These are parasitic pathogens, and a very good example of this is Plasmodium. Plasmodium, which is the causative agent of malaria. Which is the causative agent of malaria. So here with this we conclude our classification of the kingdom Protista. Clear? So now we are just going to move ahead with fungi, kingdom fungi. So when we are talking about the kingdom fungi, as we all know about fungi we have already discussed in detail, not in detail but superficially we have discussed what fungi are. Clear? So when we are talking about the fungi, kingdom fungi, these are cosmopolitan in nature. First we are just going to discuss about the habitat of these. So these are cosmopolitan in nature. Cosmopolitan in nature means these are found everywhere. These are present everywhere in the air, water, soil, in the body of the plants, in the body of the animals. Apart from these are also found growing on the bread as well as other food articles. Clear? These are present everywhere, that is in air, water, soil, in the body of plants and animals as well as growing on food articles like bread, rotten fruits and vegetables. Clear? So these are present everywhere. They are cosmopolitan in nature. Now talking about their body structural organization. So when we are talking about their body structural organization, they may be unicellular. Clear? Example is yeast. Or they may be multicellular. Okay, so when they are multicellular, their body is made up of long thread-like filamentous structures which are known as hyphae, and very often these hyphae, these form a network which is known as mycelium. So when we are talking about multicellular structures, when multicellular, these form long thread-like structures called hyphae, and very often these hyphae form network known as mycelium. Okay, now when we are talking about the hyphae, so when we are talking about the hyphae can be cenocytic or it can be septate. Clear? Cenocytic means that a single hyphae, it may contain a large number of the nucleus present within them. Clear? So it is a multinucleated structure. Clear? But when we are talking about the septate structure, so in septa, the hyphae, it is having cell walls that are laid at regular intervals of the time. Clear? So that is known as septate hyphae. So when we are talking about the mycelium, mycelium may be sinusitic, that is multinucleated, or it may be septate. Clear? Now when we are talking about these hyphae or the general body structure, the body or they do possess cell wall, and the cell wall, it is made up of chitin and polysaccharides. They possess a cell wall, and the cell wall is made of chitin and polysaccharides. Okay. Next, when we are talking about the rest part of the general introduction of the fungi, that is, they may be found free or independent, or they may be found as parasitic forms. Clear? But they may also be found as symbionts. Clear? So they may be free living, independent forms. They may be found as parasitic forms, or they may be found as symbionts. So when we are talking about the symbionts, clear? Symbionts are those structures where two different organisms, they unite to form a common structure, and both of them are benefiting each other. So that structure is known as symbionts, and here both the members of the symbionts, they are benefiting each other. Getting my words? So talking about the symbionts, it may either be present, either form symbiotic structure with algae, and the structure is known as lichen. Clear? A symbiotic structure with between algae and the fungi is known as lichen, where algae is basically responsible for preparing the food, and lichen is providing shelter to the algae. Clear? Then another association is association with roots of higher plants, and that is known as mycorrhizae. These mycorrhizae, they have got a very significant role in ecosystem. We are just going to talk about that later on. Clear? Next, talking about these mode of now nutrition. Basically, these are heterotrophs, and in heterotrophs they are saprophytic, or they may be parasitic. These are heterotrophs, and they may be saprotrophs. Saprotrophs, as you all know, that they derive their nutrition from other from the dead and decayed living organisms, saprotrophs, or they may be parasitic, that is they depend on other living organisms. Clear? Next, now we are going to talk about the mode of reproduction. Mode of reproduction. They reproduce by all the three modes, that is vegetative, asexual and sexual mode of reproduction. When we are talking about the vegetative mode of reproduction, they may reproduce by fission, fragmentation and budding method. Clear? So when they are dealing up with the vegetative mode of reproduction, then they may either reproduce by fission method or by fragmentation method or by the budding method. When they are reproducing by asexual method, then they reproduce by formation of special type of the spores which are known as conidia, okay, or other type of the spores which are present in the fruiting bodies. By spores like conidia, oospores, etc., etc. Clear? And when we are talking about the sexual mode of reproduction can be again it is by the formation of the spores, and the spores, they are ascospores, basidiospores and oospores. Oospores, basidiospores and ascospores. And what happens that whenever sexual reproduction has to take place, then two individual hyphae, they come close to each other and they share their cytoplasmic material, that is known as plasmogamy. That is known as plasmogamy. Okay, after the fusion of the cytoplasmic material, they the fusion of the nucleus take place, and this fusion of the nucleus it is known as karyogamy. But in certain of the species, the dikaryon stage exists priorly. What is dikaryon stage? That is after the fusion of the cytoplasmic material between the two hypha, we can observe that the two nucleus, they have not fused up till yet, and we can observe the two nuclei floating in the cytoplasmic material. Clear? So that is known as the dikaryon stage, and that dikaryon stage is followed by the fusion of the two nuclei, which is known as karyogamy. Clear? Now talking about this karyogamy, it is then further followed up by reduction division, which is known as meiosis, which leads to the formation of haploid spores. Clear? And of course, when we are going to talk about the economic importance, these fungi, they have got a very large economic importance, as some of these are used in the production of antibiotics like Penicillium notatum. Some of these are found as rust on a large number of the plant species as well as the animal species. Like rust is wheat rust, that is Puccinia. Clear? Some of these are also present as white spots on the mustard leaves. Again, these are the economic importance of the fungi. Clear? So here we have discussed in detail all the importance of economic importance of not only economic importance, all the general features of the kingdom fungi. Now we are just going to move ahead with the classification of fungi in our next video. Clear? Till then, you just have a look at whatever has been taught in the in this video, and relate it with the content that is given in the NCERT book. Clear? Read my contents thoroughly. It is nothing else given out from the NCERT. Everything is given from NCERT book. Clear? So then, read it thoroughly. Till then, thank you.